Hi guys. Hi guys. Welcome. My lighting is horrible. I apologize. I'm glad you're here though. Thank you for being here. Hi Larry. Larry, how have you been? You guys, that was a crazy TPO. Was that not a crazy light me? Was that not a crazy TPO that Time Serve just had? That was amazing to me. Really, really incredible. Um, we are in for a bit of a different experience from referee Hagen tonight. And I've already created part of my masterpiece for dinner. I have my homemade pita bread from last night that I made on stream. Hi, Brian and Kim. Hi, Pizza Man. Hi, Jojo Peach. Hi, Cherry B. Hi, Monica C. Hi, Richard Harrison. Hi, Steph B. I hope you guys are all well. So this is my salad that I've made with my homemade pita bread, and um, I still have to dress it, but we will get there. And we have, referee Hayden's night in a bit of a different role. Well, with just with different people. Okay. So let me know what you've had for dinner. I would love to hear. If you didn't like what you had for dinner, let me know what you wish you had for dinner. Med check, Amy, thank you. That's a good point. We will do that. Let me get this going. Okay. I want to get the background of referee Hagen, the map that he has on the wall. I want it on a picture or on a t-shirt. I'd love that. My God, the lighting. I have to just turn myself off here. Don't usually say that. Um, okay, let's go ahead and get us some Mr. Hagen. Screen two. There we go, ladies and gents. Oh no, wrong. That's gonna make everybody scream. Okay, so we will
So
see
we
what.
are on the record on case number 2217030 DM Reed versus Reed. Today's date is May 23rd, 2023. This is date and time set for our evidentiary hearing on all child-related issues.
Okay, so Richard Harrison, thank you so much. I love that hot dog emoji sticker. Oh yeah, love it. Thank you so so much. Um, I'm gonna fix my lighting here. I'm confused, but um, I am so thankful you're all here. It sounds like what we're dealing with is an evidentiary hearing, and it appears to go on for a little while. You know, those are my specialty. Whose birthday? Trish's birthday today. Happy birthday, Trish. I don't know if that song's copyrighted. We'll have to check on that. And then also somebody told me to stop singing yesterday, which I agree with, but we'll see.
I'm going to go around those Zoom boxes as you appear to me. I'll state your name. Please state your names for the record, Ms. Sheldon.
Jennifer Shelton appearing on behalf of Kelly Reed Goggins.
Mr. Reed
Blake Reed.
and Ms. Goggins Reed.
Yes, I'm here.
State your name, please.
Kelly Goggins Reed.
Thank you. So one issue I wanted to cover before we get started, and we're going to start with in terms of the burden of proof and moving forward, it will be Mr. Reed, as he's the plaintiff and wishes to change what occurred in October of 2022 here following a hearing. Ms. Sheldon, if you wanted to offer any argument as to your threshold issue that you raised.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, we've had not just a simple hearing for the temporary order, but it was an extensive record of Judge Witten finding best interest factors. We had presented evidence and testimony regarding all the factors, and established that it was in the best interest of the children to be placed with not only my client, but also have sole legal custody of the children. Of course, in order to proceed from that, as you are aware, the law requires that there has to be a significant, substantial change in circumstances. And if that threshold is not met, then plaintiff cannot go forward with the best interest factors. The threshold issue is that whether there has been any change in circumstances that materially impact the children and their best interest. And in this case, there has not been, and that will be our position. And Mr. Reed would have the burden to prove that he needs to prove proper cause and change in circumstances, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Reed, any response?
From my remembrance of the temporary order, I believe Ms. Sheldon that just spoke testified to the judge that there was not a burden of best interest that had to be found. There was no bar on a temporary order. I believe she testified that. Hopefully that's in the transcripts. I think that was one of her arguments. Also, I do not believe that court procedure was followed. I was not able to call any witnesses, amongst other things. Like I say, I'm not a lawyer. I wasn't given a free lawyer, so I don't know all the legal terms to every.
Making more sense now. When he came out of the gate, here's the truth, guys. I haven't listened to this yet. We're watching it together for the first time. But also, this is avocado dressing. At first, he sounded a bit like a lawyer. And I was like, oh, okay, we have a lawyer who's not on the screen. This is odd. But he's just told us he's not a lawyer. Oh, dear. So this will be even better than I thought.
Everything. But I do remember her stating that the bar didn't have to be met for best interest in a temporary hearing.
Thank you. Just to note, the one part about a lawyer, you're not entitled to a court-appointed lawyer for these types of cases. So that's not really an issue here. I have reviewed the transcripts, about 250 pages. It was a fairly extensive hearing, but there are a couple things I want to point out that occurred. That issue was got my notes. I just want to make sure I point out a couple things in the hearing. So there's the October 6th, 2022 hearing, and then there was another hearing on the 7th, 22. So I'll just consider for our record, day one would be October 6th. That I'll refer to that transcript because I've gone through both transcripts and flagged certain things. And then day two will be our October 7th. So if you're looking at day one, I would agree. I'm looking at sort of page 15 of that transcript. What we're looking for is.
Wow. Can we just give a little a kudos thanks to the judge here, the referee Matthew Hagen? Not only does he have to put up with that divorce couple that we've all had to put up with lately, but he's been reviewing a 250-page document about this case. This is crazy. Dormy walking their sog. Oh no, it's a sog, Dormy. We know that. Also, I made this pita bread last night on stream. It's yummy. It's a Rome thing every day. That is Pizza Man getting his other account on. Anyways, guys, I love this judge. He just is paying close attention. Oh yeah, hit that like button or the dislike button. You have a corgi sog. A corgi sog. I love corgi sogs. They're great. Hi, that is the way I see it. He is on a tablet tonight working on projects. I'm working on projects too, but it's my dinner plate, which is an avocado dressed salad with homemade pita bread and potato wedges for dinner. Pretty yummy looking, if I do say so myself. Anyways, you guys know the here. Let's see what else is going on. I love Referee Hagen though. I just feel so much like admiration for his ability to put up with shit. He's got me beat.
The court was really focused on domestic violence and how much domestic violence has occurred in this case as perpetrated by, and these were findings of fact, so they're something I can refer to by Mr. Reed. Judge Whitten made findings of extreme abuse and did discuss wanting 15 to 16, we're looking at 16, she wanted to hear testimony that related to the best interest factors so that she could, and I'm quoting this on page 16, can potentially again issue a temporary order with regards to custody until a full evidentiary hearing can be had. So I think Judge Whitten already knew that we anticipated this this being our evidentiary hearing. On page 57, she mentioned the best interest factors again, but she points out that this is her quote. Well, this is, this is Ms. Sheldon's quote. I have that circled. And this is, I believe, what Mr. Reed is referring to. Ms. Sheldon completely admits that I want to make, Your Honor, I want to make a point that the UCCJEA, which is what the hearing was about, hearings do not require best interest analysis, and the court should exercise jurisdiction to protect the child, and it is to be based on the merits of the case. However, it's not required. So Ms. Sheldon also knew that that hearing wasn't really going to be going over the best interest factors not only during the hearing, but presumably after the court has now furnished the transcript to everyone. Judge Whitten goes on page 84 to say this is a temporary decision. And then on page 100 again, Judge Whitten says this is just a temporary order. So we were talking at that time, that's day one. And then I want to go into the her decision on day two there, because once again, she uses the phrase best interest, but you'll find that there was no, I think the record's pretty clear that she didn't go over any of the, she didn't do an analysis of any established custodial environment based on MCL 722.271C. On page 149, you'll notice that. And then she mentions a couple of the best interest factors in terms of, these are the best interest factors, of course, from MCL 722.23A through L. The biggest factors to her on 149 are the moral fitness of the parties and the domestic violence here. So while those two are...
Thank you, R. Fulmer, for the info. Dormy, my sog has attacked a rabbit before and brought back a dead rabbit once. But also, R. Fulmer, thank you for saying, as per Google, referees are not elected or appointed judges. They are attorneys who work in a limited capacity, typically in family court, like custody and child support, which is exactly what we see here. I think the reason I like Referee Hagen so much is that he reminds me of Judge Porter from Texas. Anyways, the other thing I wanted to mention is that if you are new here, or if you're here and you're looking at the chat and you're like, God damn, that Streamlabs guy is annoying, or you don't want to take part in any of that, feel free to block Streamlabs. It doesn't do anything bad. It just gets rid of all that in the chat and you can just have a clear chat. No hard feelings, but a lot of people here like to gamble with the free points that I give them. So just know that. R. Fulmer says in places like Kansas, in Kansas. They have magistrate judges. These are elected, and being an attorney or having a college degree is not a requirement to run for office. That's concerning. That's concerning. Yeah, that's concerning.
Certainly listed and enumerated best interest factors. We didn't go, she didn't go through basically any of the other ones. And I think I could probably try to pigeonhole some of her findings into some of the factors, but I think the appellate courts would require a full analysis for us to be at a stage in this case where I would agree with Ms. Sheldon that decision has been made. And again, I want to emphasize, I don't believe this is error or anything. I think that Judge Whitten made it an intentional decision to focus on, it was sort of an emergency hearing during those 2 days, according to, her findings. So I believe that she was making a decision based on what she believed was for the minor's safety. I mean, even after day one, she completely placed the minors with the plaintiff in that case, our defendant here, based on her findings of some serious abuse. And then again, 149, it says, Judge Whitten says, I did consider the best interest factors. So I have no reason to doubt that. But I think certainly the courts typically have to go through each one individually. And that was not done here, nor was it required. And even Ms. Sheldon admitted that was not required. So certainly not something she must have expected. So I don't agree that a full evidentiary hearing was done in terms of the best interest factors. I certainly, I really would like to emphasize to the parties that there is evidence presented during these 2 hearings that this court will be considering in this decision, because that was an open court hearing, and Judge Whitten made some very serious findings. So the court, not only could I choose to ignore it, but I'm not going to ignore it. So while I do not agree that we've had a best interest finding sufficient to have Mr. Reed show proper cause or change in circumstances, because the reality is, if you look at, I have the case here, just 1 second. I would agree that generally the court has to determine whether there's proper cause or change in circumstances that would warrant a custody review. And that's MCL 722.271C, Corcoran versus Hinton, 282 Mish App 599 at 603, a 2009 case. However, with regard to initial or temporary orders, the court is not bound by the requirement to determine whether proper cause or change in circumstances exist before it reviews a temporary order. And that's Thompson versus Thompson, 261 Mish App 353 at 362, a 2004 case. So that's where we're at. We had a temporary order, an initial finding. So both parties, but obviously I believe, my understanding is Mr. Reed is the one who would like to change things from that temporary order.
So what it sounds like to me, Jonathan, is that the previous judge had a partial evidentiary hearing, but not what Judge or referee Hagen would consider a full evidentiary hearing. And so, oh, Beija Minta, that sounds delicious. A surprise romantic dinner for you? See you in a bit, Pizza Man. We'll be here. You know it. Anyway, so what I think is happening is, pardon me, shouldn't eat on camera first, but I believe Judge Hagen is saying, or referee Hagen is saying, it's he's ruling on a motion to have a full evidentiary hearing as opposed to continue forth on the already existing one. Anyways, let's continue and we'll see.
We're still going to have to go over an established custodial environment and the best interest factors, but that's where we're starting from today instead of whether proper cause or a change occurred. So that's the finding on our initial legal issue here. And then we'll proceed with Mr. Reed. You're welcome to testify. We spoke a little bit off the record just about some procedural issues. If you have some witnesses you'd like to call, you're welcome to call or text them, sir. We just have to make sure they're not in the same room with you, okay?
They're not.
Okay. And then, like I said, we could start with you if you'd like, or you could call Ms. Goggins Reed, or you could call your first witness. You just let me know, and we're going to start with you, okay?
I'd like to.
My fur baby is not mine. It's my sister's. And so she's only here some days a week, not today. And the cat is ignoring me right now.
Call Miss Reed.
All right.
Your Honor, I'm sorry to interject, but is Miss Nanez in the waiting room at all?
No.
Okay.
And I can let you know if she pops in. I know, I believe that person is out of state, and so I'm happy to have her testimony out of order. But since we're all here, I'm going to move forward with those folks who are here.
Yes. Thank you.
So, Ms. Goggins Reed, I'd ask that you please raise your right hand and unmute your mic.
Okay.
Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Reed.
How you doing, Miss Reed? Hey, I've got how many kids do you have?
3.
3. Okay. How many kids have you birthed? How many children have you been pregnant with that you gave birth to?
4.
Weird question. Weird way to ask that. I'm already getting freaky vibes. This guy is off to a bang. Usually they don't have any good questions right out the bat. He didn't say unalived. He said birthed. Birthed. How many babies did you birth? Okay. If this goes like, oh, you sold your baby, I'd be like, what is going on here?
3, 4. So you have 4. You just said you had 3, but you actually have 4.
Correct.
Okay. Kind of give me the ages of these 4 children that you have.
17, 7, 5, and 3.
Why'd you say you only had 3 and you didn't have 4?
I have legal custody of 3 kids, and my rights were terminated to the 4th.
You have legal custody right now of 2 kids, and then you have shared custody of your oldest. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. And with your oldest child, it's supposed to be supervised with with somebody that's chosen by your sister, I believe, correct?
That is not correct.
Okay, that's not correct.
The people speaking off camera are me and I believe this is the mom and the dad in this case, if I'm understanding. He sounds like a lawyer, but he's just, I think, experienced. Here we go.
Okay. And sorry, I'm reading through notes, so this might take me a minute. Who took your custody away from you on your oldest child and your second oldest child?
The court. CPS.
Okay. Can you tell me why?
Due to domestic violence with you.
Domestic violence. And there was just domestic violence proven, yet I was never in court for any of this, correct?
Yes, you were in court for some of it. Most of it, you were on the run from Texas law enforcement, so you did not participate.
And I was on the run from Texas law enforcement from a charge that I had bonded out on. And actually, you committed a felony by taking me out of state, correct? You
That
moved
is
with
not
me.
correct.
Okay, so you didn't move to California when I did, when I had an open warrant.
No.
No, okay. Where'd you give birth to Hartley at?
California.
California. And I was still wanted by the sheriff's department for an open warrant, correct?
I believe so.
You believe so? Were you with me when they arrested me?
Yes, you were at my house.
At your house. Okay, so you did live with me during that time frame, and you did live with me. We only had one vehicle there at the time, and you did, even though
No,
you
I
stayed.
lived with your mother.
I did what now?
I lived with your mother.
Okay, so I was arrested in Cayucas, California, and my parents lived in Cambria, California.
Correct. At that time, I was renting a house in Cayucas, California.
Okay, but you stated on record before you never had a job. How were you renting a house?
I had money in my pocket.
Okay. All right. That's great. And then, so your family, sisters and mother, worked with Child Protective Services to take custody of your 7-year-old. What's your 7-year-old's name?
Harper Jones.
What's her first name?
Harper.
Harper. So that's what was on her birth certificate?
Correct.
So it wasn't Blakely Harper Reed on the birth certificate?
Her name was legally changed.
Okay, but she was born as Blakely Harper Reed, correct? That's what I'm asking. Not
Correct.
What was changed. Okay. Do you get to see that child?
I do.
You do. Okay. Do the children, Hartley and Hunter Reed, do they get to see the child?
Your Honor, I do believe these questions are irrelevant.
I think your attorney would object. This is proven.
Yeah, your attorney can object, ma'am.
I'm asking this to prove your testimony as being not truthful on things.
Yes, they do get to see her.
Okay. On a video visit that I had with my children, they had no idea who Harper or Blakely was.
You actually addressed her as Blakely, and no, they do not know who Blakely is.
And I said, so you don't get to see Harper or Blakely. I have this in recording. I would like to remind you that it's perjury if you lied. Now, I had asked them if they had got to see Harper or Blakely, and they said, no, who is that?
Objection. That's not a question.
Okay.
Do you remember that conversation?
I do.
Okay. You just testified that I only said Blakely, but you do remember the conversation and me referring to both.
Somebody just said, well, how did they not know this makes them look like an idiot? Well, or look bad. Because I don't know. Honestly, actually. It's ridiculous. It's obvious to us who watch court all the time. Also, if I had their pictures, guys, I would put them up here. I'm not beaver damming anybody, or I'm not beaver buffering. They're just not on.
They have to be questions, sir. I can't tell if you're asking questions either.
Okay, I apologize, sir.
Well, I just can't. It's not a big deal. I just couldn't tell. Okay.
Okay. Your oldest child, where's his father at?
He does not have a father. I have sole custody of him and have since he was 7 years old when I went to court.
Wait, you don't have sole custody. They took custody of him.
I did have sole custody, and then it changed to...
Your Honor, this testimony is going in a direction that's not really relevant to this case. He's talking about 2 children who are not part of this case. I would like it to move towards what is relevant to the custody of the 2 children.
Yeah,
It,
I was gonna allow some of it, and I think I have, but we need to kind of steer the conversation back towards the children at issue here.
can I get to the point I'm trying to make on that?
No,
Okay. All right. Do you owe child support, Kelly?
I do.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I do not.
You do not. You've never been behind on child support.
I wasn't. It was the issue was taken care of
How long ago was that taken care of?
within the past year.
Okay, so it's after you left the house. How
Correct.
did you ever make any child support payments before then?
No, I was unable to.
Okay. You've stated in court that you didn't work, that you had a couple odd cleaning jobs, and that I was the sole income to the family. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Who's Highway 1 Rentals to you?
A company that you contracted work from.
Okay. It would just me, not you?
No.
No, you never contracted work from them?
No, I contracted work through your business.
Through my parents' business?
Through your business.
Okay. But you stated that you never worked. Would you say that did you have a schedule every week almost for a certain time period of cleanings?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no, depending on the availability.
Okay. But you had said you never worked. Would you say that you made close to $50,000 cleaning houses?
I'm not sure what was made. The paychecks were made out to your name, cashed in your bank account, and I was only allotted a certain amount.
Let me remind you that there's perjury here. So you you state that they were written to me.
Renting to
Is that what
who?
you stated?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
You said the checks were written to me from Highway 1 Rentals.
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's good to know.
Written to your business of Central
Right.
Coast Handyman.
So I owned a business called Central Coast Handyman. I had a legal business, Central Coast Handyman.
Correct. You took over a business, Central Coast Handyman.
Okay. And that account was in my name?
I'm not sure. Everything was kept from me.
Okay. But you said that you never worked, yet you did work. And you knew what you were getting paid and you got the check. So
Mr. Reed is testifying.
yeah, just a reminder, sir. We got to have questions, okay?
my correct at the end was just asking if she was basically addressing it as a question.
Sure, you can ask her a question. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay. Who is Pawpaw to Hartley and Hunter?
I'm not sure who Pawpaw is.
Really? So when they address Pawpaw on the recorded video that I had with them that they've been at Pawpaw's house, you have no idea where they're at?
There's no one by the name of Pawpaw.
What do they call your father?
Papa.
Papa, excuse me. Okay. So how often do they get to be around your father?
There's no set time or schedule.
Okay. You had stated before that you had nothing to do with him. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. Why is it that you had nothing to do with him?
I was not able to due to you.
Oh, it wasn't because he was in federal prison?
No, it was not.
Okay. Did your dad go to federal prison?
Yes, he did.
What was he in prison for?
I don't remember what the exact charges were.
I'll refresh your memory. He got caught with a little over 23,000 prescription pills and illegal guns and
I
stolen
don't
property.
believe that was his actual conviction.
That's what he was arrested for.
Mm.
Which you know because I'm the one that turned him in. Are we correct?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So, how was your childhood?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
The relevance is that she's around. She states that she's living with her mother and they're around her father as well. And I would like to get on to that subject.
Yeah, you can ask her about what she's currently doing, or so it needs to relate to the children, sir. That's really all we're getting at.
Okay.
I do
Excellent.
believe that the issue is he is trying to make that
That's
I am
okay, ma'am. Ma'am, that's all right. Mr. Reed, go ahead.
Object. How was your childhood around the people that are around the children currently? I'm referring to Inez Goggins, your mother, and Michael Goggins, your father. How was your childhood?
I had a safe childhood.
You had a safe childhood. Who raised you?
My mother.
Your mother. Your father wasn't around?
My father lives in the same town, but no, they were divorced.
Okay. Would you agree when I say that your parents are divorced, but they get back together and try to work things out every certain amount of time, so often?
I wouldn't say so.
Okay. Your mom's with your father now, correct? So she doesn't spend the night with your father?
No, she does not.
Really? Okay. All right. So your mom was around. You never spent long lengths of time with your aunt or your friends because your mom was gone, correct?
I spent time with my friends and family. Yes, I did.
Okay. Was that because your mom was gone?
There was really no particular reason other than I wanted to stay with them.
Okay. All right. So you stated that the children previously, I'm asking this as a question. You stated the children previously were never around your father. Yet they said they were at Papa's house or whatever they call him. So I'm just trying to figure out which statement you're going to stay with.
I believe that times change and people change, and yes, they have been around my father. I feel that it is important that they know other parts of their family that they've never met.
Did your dad bring a coat hanger over when he found out you were pregnant?
No, he did not.
He did not. Okay. And your father?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for anybody walking in right now. Melissa, aka Mel. I believe he just accused her father of bringing a coat hanger over when they found out she was pregnant. Wow. His whole attitude is not helping him. I don't care if he got all of the best or all of the details out that made it seem like she was the most abused woman in the world and that she did everything for him. He's only proving to me that he's a good abuser, really, at this point. And he sounds mad that she is not under his sort of thing. And also, what is her lawyer doing? What's with all these lawyers? Come on, guys. Lawyer lady, object.
Never pushed you on the ground and kicked you?
I believe it's irrelevant.
I'm asking. It's relevant because they're around the children. Answer the question, please.
Well, I would prefer you put a time frame on this, Mr. Reed.
Your Honor, I honestly do not know a time frame. I I do not know. I apologize. But it's the I'm trying to basically show what type of person he is, and since they've painted me to be this bad person, what type of person he is and what type of person she's allowing around the children.
I'll answer this question. Yes, my father was addicted to prescription narcotics. This time frame would have been between 15 and 20 years ago, but was no different from my children seeing Blake Reed do the same thing to their parent, to their mother.
Okay. Excellent. Who are Kathy and JT?
And that is why lawyers will say you don't ever ask a question that you don't know the answer to already. Please. This is fire. Damn.
Shanks to Hartley and Hunter Reed.
Grandparents.
Grandparents, okay. At what part of their life did those grandparents come in?
They've been off and on pretty much their whole life.
Okay, so you would say that they were there when they were born. My mom was actually in the delivery room.
Yes, because you couldn't be there.
I was there. I have pictures of being there. You just said I wasn't there. Do you want to stay with that?
That's not what I said. So
you just said I could not be there. Was I there when my children were...
I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. You could not stay there while your children were being born.
Okay. I cut both of my children's umbilical cords. Correct or not?
I don't recall.
You don't recall who cut the umbilical cord for your children?
No, I do not.
Objection, argumentative, Your Honor. He's now arguing with the witness.
No, I'm just asking if she remembers who cut her child's umbilical cord.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
So am I allowed to ask that?
You can ask it. Yeah.
Okay.
You've already asked it.
Okay. So how many times since you left Michigan, you fled, is in your words, fleeting violence? How many times have a very sweet, loving couple that have never done anything wrong in their life, how many times have they been allowed to talk to their grandkids?
I do believe that Kathy Shanks was sole caregiver of Hunter while he was in your care.
She was a what?
Sole caregiver of Hunter while he was in your care.
Really? And what makes you, where were you at?
In Texas.
When Hunter was in my care. Okay, so what made you come to the conclusion that Miss Shanks was a caregiver, the sole caregiver, the only one that was there for the child? What makes you come to that conclusion?
There was proof of it.
Do what now?
There was proof of it. You had her fly
Where?
out to Michigan when you brought him back home, and she stayed there for the duration of his time there and then flew out as soon as he was given to me for temporary custody.
My mom was here to testify in court, but she was not allowed to. She was denied that right, and I was denied that right by the previous judge. My mother was here, correct. So since you've had the children, let me rephrase this since you didn't answer it. How many times have you allowed them to talk to their grandparents that were there on a daily basis?
They don't have any contact with the children.
Why?
That I'm not sure of.
They haven't tried to contact you multiple times through email, text messages, and so on?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that you're aware of.
Correct.
Okay. And this is on court document, correct, Your Honor?
I'm sorry.
This is excuse me, I apologize. So my parents, to your knowledge, have not tried to contact you whatsoever to talk to their grandchildren. They just washed their hands and walked away. Correct?
I'm not sure what your parents have done. I don't know what they're doing.
You're not sure. So the gifts that my mom took a picture of that were sent to you and my daughter had during a video call, you wouldn't say that they sent those? Did they send those?
Yes, they did. And
Okay.
Hartley was explained that they did send them to her.
She said that, correct me if I'm wrong, she said that
Objection,
came-
Your Honor, hearsay.
Yeah, sir, we can't go into what your mother has said.
no, I'm talking about my daughter. My daughter's not able to testify. She's
Still same ruling, right?
okay. Let me rephrase that. Did Hartley say to
No
you,
objection, Your Honor. He cannot just say that.
I
Correct.
can't hear, I can't ask her what she's heard, what Kelly's heard?
You cannot ask her what your child has said.
Okay. Kelly, you had, so it's on record then. That, and it was also that for Christmas that they had sent things, correct?
I believe so.
Yes or no?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure
Yes
what
or
they.
no? Either they did or they didn't. It's yes or no.
Yes, they did.
Okay. And yes, they sent things at Easter, correct?
Christmas and Easter. Yes.
Okay. That's what I'd asked. Did I send, Hartley had made 100 on a paper in school. Do you remember to what I'm referring to?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And I told her that I would send her money to buy a toy, correct? Yes or no?
Correct. Yes.
And I did send money to you through Venmo for that toy, correct? Yes or no?
Correct. $20.
Okay. But you told her I didn't.
No, I did not. That very night, she got online and ordered the toy that she wanted.
The recording that I have from talking to my kids, you told my daughter that I never sent the money. And she asked me if I sent it, how I sent it. Is it in the mail, Daddy?
Yes, you forget that the daughter is 5 years old and will
Correct.
come up with her stories and really don't know how financial works, that things are online
You're
are
100%
hard.
You're 100% correct.
As
But
far
you
as money goes, unless it's cash money in her hand, she doesn't understand how that works.
Understandable. Excellent. What I'm asking is, did you or did you not tell Hartley during that call that I never sent money? Yes or no?
No,
You never told her that.
no.
Okay. Hold on one second. I need to write this down. I'm just reading through notes. Give me just a second. Have you ever given a minor access to marijuana?
No, I have not.
You have not. Okay. Do you remember a Sophie Brown?
I do. It's your other daughter.
Okay. Where was Sophie while I was out working?
At the house.
Okay. Was she there by herself or with you?
Just depends on the day.
Oh, that's what I'm asking. Would you leave her there by herself?
Yes.
You would. Okay.
Your Honor, just for like some background information, foundation, where we're talking about, when we're talking about, how old is this child?
No problem. Sophie Brown came to.
No, sorry. This is information you have to get from the witness.
Okay.
So you opted not to testify first. So, unless you're ready,
Okay.
when you're ready to testify, sir, that's when we'll get information from you. Right now, you've called a witness, so you're only permitted to ask questions.
I apologize, sir.
No, that's
Like I said, this is all new to me. When did Sophie Brown come into the picture?
March of 2022.
Okay. And she moved to Michigan with us, correct?
Correct.
Did you take Sophie to the doctor?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What doctor did you take her to?
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood. Well, that's a new one to me. And what did they do there?
She had an office visit with them.
Okay. What else did they do?
She asked for them to give her birth control.
Mm-hmm. And did you have to sign for that?
No, I did not.
You did not. Okay. What did you tell myself that evening of what happened at the doctor's office? Miss Reed?
Yes.
What did you tell me, myself, Blake Reed, of what happened at the doctor's office? What did you tell me? What was the text message that was sent of what happened at the doctor's office and what they did?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. Well, let me ask you, would it refresh your memory if you told me it was just an office visit?
It's possible.
Okay. How many times did I ask you?
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I think he should probably thank her to, like, just thank her for taking the daughter to get birth control as opposed to being mad at her for doing that. Believe me, believe me, believe me, right? Like, anyways. She can go to Planned Parenthood by herself also at that age. Anyways, okay, let's continue. It just bothers me. I don't think that kids should be prevented from doing that. If she's 12 or 16, if she wants birth control and is able to verbalize that, give the child birth control. That's my stance on it. Always will be.
If you put Sophie on birth control?
I don't recall.
You don't recall. Okay. I can't testify, so would you say that you told me that you never put her on there until I had proof and I asked you about it?
I don't recall.
You don't recall. Okay. You knew Sophie Brown was sneaking out of the house, correct?
Not for a good while.
But you knew, and how many times did you know of? Let me rephrase that question for you.
Maybe twice.
Okay. Did you tell me?
Tried to point out that
You tried to tell me. How did you try to tell me?
telling you that she must be going somewhere because she's putting on a full face of makeup at 10 p.m. at night.
Would you not agree that the night that you said that was the night that I found out she was sneaking out?
Correct.
Okay. So before that, it happened Because you just said it had happened multiple times, at least twice. So before that, you knew, but you didn't tell me, correct?
No, I didn't know before the fact.
You just testified that you knew of 2 times.
Exactly. And I just said that I did not know before the fact.
But you were trying to give me hints multiple times.
Correct.
But you knew, and you were trying to give me hints instead of telling me, correct? That's what
correct.
you testified.
I figured you needed to see it on your own because for some reason I was never believed.
Yeah, I was never told. So you wouldn't think that would be a safety issue with a child sneaking out in a town that she knows nobody in? Wouldn't you conversate with your spouse about that instead of trying to give hints?
A normal.
Would you guys conversate with your spouses about that? That's not a word, dude. Again, yes, I am Canadian, so actually, I believe that birth control is covered in some provinces as free. And as a kid, if you have a good parent or if you have a parent who you're connected enough with that you can speak to openly, that's great. And if a child, I'm telling you, I do not care. If a kid comes to you and asks to do that, you should do that. That is the absolute safest thing to do. And in the same thing, you should conversate with them about sex. It's crazy. But if you don't have a parent like that, you might have a kid who ends up going to a clinic themselves. And that's great. That should also be okay. Like, again, your kid sneaking out at night is a bigger problem than her wanting to be on birth control, in my mind. Parenting, co-parenting, but he's the way he's making this sound, this isn't her kid. This is his kid. I don't know. I don't know what the lawyer's doing either.
Spouse, yes.
Okay.
A spouse that I'm worried physical
I don't
abuse
need
to the
anything
child.
else. I can say yes or no.
Yeah.
Yes or no. Is it yes or no? Normally, you would tell your spouse for safety reasons.
In a normal relationship, yes.
Yes or no. Okay.
I just answered your question.
Sir, you're not able to just yell at the witness. So.
I just want the answer. There's no need in beating around the bush. I'm just trying to get through the lies. I apologize. So before that fact of her sneaking out, was there a man that came to the house one day?
Yes, there was.
There was, okay. And were Hartley and Hunter present when this man showed up at the house?
No, they were not.
They were not.
What man?
Where
What
were
day?
they at?
With me.
You just said there's a man that showed up at the house.
Correct.
How would a man show up at the house if you weren't there? How would you know?
I was not home. Actually,
So-
I was at the Grand Traverse Sheriff's Department.
Okay, what were you doing there?
Turning in paperwork.
Okay. So how did you know there was a man at the house?
He was there when I came home.
Okay. What kind of conversation did you have with the man?
Didn't have a conversation with him. I couldn't even tell you what he looked like.
You couldn't tell me what he looked like.
Correct.
Were the kids in the house when you came home?
The kids were with me when I came home.
Okay. And the man was in the house with a minor that just turned 15.
I wasn't sure who was in the house. There weren't any vehicles in the driveway.
There was a vehicle parked out front, correct?
No, down the street there was.
The next house over in a neighborhood that the houses are 30 feet apart, correct?
They're further than that, but
Okay, that's fine. So if you didn't know there's a guy there, why would you say no hanky panky to the minor and the adult male?
She came up to tell me that someone was there, a friend of hers. And I told her no hanky panky.
Mm-hmm. Okay. While they're having sex, an adult male is having sex with a minor and a child.
Your Honor, he is testifying. He's not drawing this out.
No, I'm asking a question.
No, I think you're
Well, it
testifying.
doesn't sound like it because you haven't established those facts yet.
Okay. So the night that I found out that Sophie snuck out, did you tell me anything?
Yeah, I told you that she had snuck out.
Okay. Did you tell me that she had been sneaking out at that point?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure. Did I call the sheriff's department and drive around frantically looking for a child because it was pouring down rain and she didn't know anybody in town? That would be something that somebody that knew what was going on would normally do?
Yes.
Okay. So you're not sure if you told me before that the male was at the house. You never told me any of that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that was before. I'm just trying to get a timeline here. That was before the incident when I found out she was sneaking out, correct?
What was before the incident?
The man having sex in the home with...
Objection, Your Honor. That's not an evidence. He's assuming facts, Your Honor.
No, that's admitted in court. That's evidence. It went to court, to the prosecutor's office there. That is evidence.
Sir, I think what she's saying is it hasn't been established on this record. No one has said that today but you. Do you understand that?
I'm sorry. I just assumed when it was court record in Grand Traverse County that it would be verifiable. I apologize. I'm not a lawyer. So let me establish that. Did Sophie and this Dominic man have sex in the house?
That I'm unsure of. I have no way of knowing.
Sure. She never told you?
No, she did not.
Okay. Did you see the report of his testimony of admitting to having sex with Sophie in the home with you present?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you not leave and take the children and say you weren't coming back until I dropped charges against the man for this because you were scared they're going to take your kids?
No, I did not. Told you I wasn't coming back because you physically assaulted Sophie.
Oh, I did. Okay. So if I was able to, am I able to show a text message that states otherwise, Your Honor?
Yeah. Do you have you have to do a share screen?
I'm not really sure.
So yeah, help me understand. What do you have it like?
I have it,
or do you have it on an email or something?
I have it in a text message stating that I will not come back till you drop charges against the man because I'm not going to jail.
No, I'm not asking you to read the text. I'm asking you what format it's in so we can see it.
It's in text message.
In this phone?
Right. So meaning you would just be showing me your phone?
Correct.
Do you have a way to print it out or get it saved on a computer to email or anything?
I don't have either. No, sir.
Because that's always how it's done, either printed out or stored electronically. Nobody, in other words, nobody ever just hands me their phone and says, here's the evidence because I can't just keep your phone. Does that make sense? So when the court has to decide the issues, I need to be able to go over the documents. We'll consider a text a document. And unless you're wanting me to just look at whatever's on your phone and you're submitting that as evidence.
That's honestly, that's fine. She's testified she never sent that, so I can go and file for perjury separately and address that situation separately. So it's.
I'm just trying to help you get evidence admitted. Okay, so
yeah,
that's all.
And I don't have a way to do that. I apologize. I really do. So.
Well, you have a way to do it. You're just not going to do it. I want to point that out. You could print it out or you could email it. That there is a way to do it. So
can I screenshot it and send it through email that way?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I will get that sent over then. So on to a different topic of.
Well, since we're switching topics, I was letting you go on that topic. We have a Jesse Jensen here. So is that the person from Texas?
No, that's a mutual friend of ours in California. I can go ahead and call. I'll go ahead and call Jesse and then go back to Kelly. Since he's on and he's on a time schedule with his work.
Okay. I assume there's no objection, Ms. Sheldon. You're asking for a similar request for your witness.
Yes.
So in fairness, I'm not sure I could say no, but I didn't know who this person was. So, all right. So, Mr. Reed.
This judge is from Michigan, but it's like they give him all the Cali cases and he wishes he was in California. Like, seriously. All these cases have California connections.
Then just for formal purposes, your next witness, please.
Jesse Jensen.
Thank you.
It's like they have a bunch of
Mr.
cases
Jensen.
in their pipeline and they're like, oh man, no, this is what they had to talk about at the judicial conference. It's like, oh yeah, I'm at. I'm reading the comments. We've got all these horrible divorces for people from California that want to come to Michigan and they just talk for hours and hours. What are we going to do? Oh, referee Hagen, you can handle them, can't you? You're from California originally? Yeah, I guess so. I wish my weed was strong enough to have kicked in. Talk to me, Judge. Come on.
Getting his audio connected here. Oops. So I'm going to send him a chat on here that just asks him to connect. I'm just going to say, please connect your audio. Looks like he tried and it just didn't work. And I'm sending that chat directly to him. So I want the record to be clear what I'm doing. Should just pop up on his whatever device he's using.
Med check. I didn't even do them in the first place, Amy.
All right, I'll put him in the waiting room and then I'm going to bring him back in and he should get the same prompt for audio, and let's see if he can connect this time. This happens all the time, so we're pretty used to it.
Georgia, I had to put him on the thumbnail for a reason. He was looking better than me today.
And we lost him. Here, let's see. Is his number an 805 number, Mr. Reed?
I believe so.
Okay, let's check in and I'll check in to see who this is. And then the uh, our Hereford person just popped in too, so we'll start with. Good morning. Is this Mr. Jensen?
Yes, it is.
Good morning, sir. My name is Matt Hagen. I'm the referee in this matter. You've been called as a witness by Mr. Reed. He's going to have some questions for you. And then if she chooses to, attorney Ms. Sheldon may have some questions for you, okay?
Okay.
If you'd raise your right hand, please.
Yes.
You swear from the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Reed.
Mr. Jensen, how do you know me and my wife and children?
We became mutual friends because we lived in the same town, a small town.
Okay. Would you? How often were you around my wife and my children?
Almost daily.
Okay. Can you tell me? Do you recall an event when I was in Texas, coming back from Texas, with Kelly?
Are you talking about the time she was packing up all of her stuff and leaving, or?
Correct.
Yes, I do recall that.
Can you tell the court about that?
Well, I got a phone call from you stating that Kelly was packing up her stuff and leaving. So you asked me to go over to the house and see what was going on. I went over to the house. The kids were pretty hysterical. And then everything was out of your safe. The house was pretty ransacked, and her car was loaded.
What was her demeanor at that time?
She seemed like she was, I don't know what the correct term is, but pretty out there.
How was she?
Mentally, I guess.
How was she being towards the children that she was in possession of at the time?
She was either ignoring them or yelling at them.
Do you know why?
Well, I know Kelly had a pill problem because she asked me if I could get her pills at one time, or maybe on more than one occasion.
What does that say about you, though, my friend? That you're the guy that can get pills, right? Right? Anyways, I'm gonna make a cup of tea now while this shit show continues. And again, they are not on the screen. If they were, they would be here, but
But that's all I know. I don't know if I can't tell you if she was in fact on drugs or anything, but I know she did take pills. So
okay, so she was just loading up anything she could, money, clothes, all the kids stuff, and she was gonna leave before I got home. How long do you remember how long I was gone from California at that time?
what kind of pills, though? That's actually very important. Like, did she ask you to give her some Adderall or some Ritalin, or did she ask you to give her some pain pills? Because those are completely different beasts. It's very broad to say pills. It's weird. Hi, Carrie. Hi, everybody. Also, Pill Guy is not on trial. I know. I know.
I think you were gone for about a week.
Okay. So, I wasn't there beating her up that day.
No.
Okay.
You weren't even there. I know after I showed up, about an hour after I showed up, your mom and dad showed up.
Okay. Is there anything else that you know about Kelly? There's a lot of things I didn't know. So is there anything else that you would like to say?
I know she had disappeared multiple times, and I know she left the children at home once when she disappeared.
Is there anything you'd like to smear her with that we talked about earlier when we rehearsed exactly what you were going to say?
But that's pretty much all I know as far as that stuff goes. I don't, I wasn't trying to get too involved in your guys' personal matters, but I know that she had disappeared a couple times because I had come over to your house when you were at work, and she had been gone for a while, but I think your parents had beat me there because I was working, obviously.
What would you say the amount? How often did Miss Reed wear makeup? Did she wear makeup often, or not very often at all?
Not at all.
Okay, so if she was being abused, it would have been very easily to be seen with no makeup on.
Irrelevance. Oh, I'm getting mad now. I'm actually getting a bit mad. Why is this dumbass lawyer not saying anything? Also, my theory is because I think the cost of living is so cheap in Michigan comparatively to California that it is very enticing. Also, remember, like, people that can't even make it in California are like getting paid $150 an hour in Michigan to design like barns and houses, and they don't even need to get licenses for those things. God.
Of course.
Okay. I think that's all I have for him.
Ms. Sheldon, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Johnson, your full name is, what is your full name? Jesse
Jensen.
Okay. And where do you reside?
I reside in Lake Forest, California at this point. I moved about 2 years ago from my hometown, which was Morro Bay, California.
Okay. So is Morro Bay where you met Mr. and Mrs. Reed?
Correct. Yeah, I worked for a towing company, and Blake actually became a customer of our shop, our automotive shop, and our towing company. So that's how I met Mr. Reed. And then we lived probably 3 blocks from each other. So it was, we became friends.
Okay. So what's the timeline? When did you first meet them?
Ooh. It was before COVID. So it was 2019 at some point. 2018, somewhere in that window.
And how long did you know them?
I knew them up until the point I moved away. So, and I still talk to them even after I moved. So.
When did you move?
I moved in 2021, November of 2021. So the end of 21.
Okay. What date were you talking about when you went over to the house and the house was ransacked and Miss Reed was leaving?
I want to say that was some months before I moved. So I want to say it was June sometime, I think, June to August sometime of 2021.
The summer of 2021?
Yeah. And there was one other time, like I mentioned, that she had disappeared, but Blake was at work. I believe he was in Santa Maria at the time, if I recall the event correct. But That
Did you know that she disappeared?
Blake had called me and told me.
Knowledge as to whether she actually disappeared.
No, I showed up at his house. She was gone. I
Um,
worked in the same town we resided in, so it was pretty
Okay.
easy for me because I managed a towing company, so I was able to drive over. I was only 2 or 3 minutes away.
But you indicated that his mother and father were there
Correct.
with the children?
Yeah, they had showed up right. I mean, I want to say 2 minutes before I did, but the kids were home alone at that time.
Okay. Okay. And you stated that you don't know if Miss Reed in fact took any drugs.
I know that she did at one point because there were pill bottles on top of the refrigerator with her name on them. But she was always asking for more.
She was asking you.
She had asked me a couple times if I knew anybody because I grew up in that area. So she asked me if I had known anyone that could get her drugs or pills, I should say, not drugs, but pills.
And this was in 2018, 2019?
I want to say it was actually 2020. It was during, I remember it being during COVID.
Okay. You wouldn't know whether she was being abused by Mr. Reed, would you?
I didn't see any signs of abuse. But I mean, I wasn't with them 24/7, so I mean, I can't answer that 100%, but it didn't seem like she was being abused at all, no.
You wouldn't know it for a fact if somebody was being abused, controlled or manipulated, would you?
She never seemed like she was.
Okay. How old were the children at the time?
I want to say Hartley was maybe 3, and his son was just walking at the time. So maybe 1 or 2.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Reed, do you have any additional questions based on Ms. Sheldon's questions? We call that redirect.
I do. She had asked if he had known of any controlling or manipulating or whatever way she was trying to go with that. Did you ever, Mr. Jensen, did you ever see Kelly driving around town?
All the time.
What do you mean by all the time?
I would see, I mean, it's a small town. It's population, 8,000 people. So, I mean, you see people based off because you know what kind of car they drive. I would see Kelly at the grocery store. I would see Kelly, at McDonald's with the kids. I would see her pretty much everywhere. I know that she worked, I know she cleaned vacation rentals. So, and I would go to a lot of vacation rentals based off my job, towing. A lot of people come from out of town. Their car battery dies. I jumpstart them. I would run into Kelly a lot.
Was she tied up while driving? Did I have her?
All, no.
I guess I couldn't have had her tied up and she was driving. She wasn't allowed to leave. Okay. All right. That's, I think, all I need from you. I appreciate you taking your time.
Well, hold on. That's not how it works. Ms. Sheldon, do you have any final questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. Mr. Jensen, do you know of Mr. Reed's criminal history?
I do.
Okay. Do you have any criminal history?
I do. Yes, I do.
And what kind of criminal convictions do you have?
I have a conviction of exhibition of speed when I was 19 years old and a contempt of court charge.
Did you know that Mr. Reed was on the run from Texas? And he was on the,
Hold on, did he just say exhibitionism? We gotta go back. We gotta go back.
I do. Yes, I do.
and what kind of criminal convictions do you have?
I have a conviction of exhibition of speed when I was like 19 years old and a contempt of court charge.
Did you know that Mr. Reed was on the run from Texas? And he was on the top 10 most wanted list in Texas?
Yes, I do, but I'm almost positive that he resolved that matter.
And you had no concerns about that issue?
I mean, people make mistakes all the time. I've made them. I'm sure, you know, everybody can say they've made a mistake at one time or another. I don't base my judgment on people based off their past, just how they treat me and how they treated people around them. So I didn't have any concerns. Blake was a good dad.
Did you know that they had another child, older child?
Yes, I did. I knew that.
Did you know that there were, Mr. Reed's rights were terminated to that child?
Yes, I did.
And did you know that it was because of domestic violence in the home?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'm going to give Mr. Reed a final opportunity because that was a little outside the scope. So, Mr. Reed, do you have any final questions for this witness?
No. I mean, it's well aware that I had ran from the police and had a warrant for my arrest. I mean,
just questions for this witness, sir, if you have any.
No, sir.
All right, we'll let him go then. Thank you, Mr. Jensen.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too, thanks. All right, so as I did state before, Mr. Jensen, we have someone from Hereford Investigations. It says / Lydia, so perhaps it's Lydia. Is that who we're expecting?
Yes, Your Honor.
I just looked it up, but I don't know when that was that he was on the list. But that's crazy. That's not good at all. I'll tell you that. Judge's hair is great tonight. Judge's hair is like he's been like he always looks like he just got in from a surf and he had the greatest time. It was an early morning surf and he just caught the best waves in the sun coming up. And then he had his coffee on the beach as he like retreated back into this hellhole of a job that he has listening to these people's fucking problems, which we all do for fun.
Good morning.
Yeah, somebody's
You're on
here.
mute. Are you Lydia? Oops.
Yes.
There we go. And Lydia, could I have your last name, please?
Lydia Nanez, Nanez.
Thank you. You've been called as a witness in this matter by Ms. Sheldon. She will have some questions for you. And then if he chooses to, Mr. Reed may have some questions for you, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, if you'd raise your right hand, please. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Sheldon.
Thank you, Your Honor. State your name for the record.
Lydia Nanez.
And what is your current position at Hereford Investigations?
Office manager and observer.
What do you do?
I set up visits for virtual and in-person visits, and I also observe visits.
How long have you been at that position?
I have been an observer since 2019.
And what does Hereford Investigations do? What do you provide?
We observe visits for CPS and for the courts. We basically listen and watch the visits, and if anything is said that shouldn't be said, we step in and let them know that we need to change the subject or move on to a different conversation.
And when you observe the visits, do you make any kind of records?
Yes, we document everything.
How do you document them?
We either type them out. We do have some that write them out.
Okay. And then do you prepare that as part of your business record?
Yes, we keep everything on file.
Now, do you know Mr. Blake Reed?
Yes, I am familiar with him.
And how do you know him?
I have done virtual visits for him.
Okay. And can you describe for the court, what are some of the rules that the parents have to follow during the virtual visits?
They are not allowed to talk about the case. They're not allowed to talk about the other party in the case. They are, if anything like that comes up, we give them warnings. They are asked to sign rules, and there are no refunds.
Okay. When was the first time your company was contacted by Mr. Reed?
That would have to have been around February 1st, I believe, 2023 was when we took in the first payment for him for his first visit.
Okay. And how long were his visits?
20 minutes.
Okay. And then how often did he have his visits?
He had them twice a week, Monday and Wednesday, for 20 minutes each.
And the children are quite young, is that correct?
Yes. Yes, I believe they're 3 and 5.
Okay. And when the visits are set up, who sets them up? Obviously, the mother has to be involved somehow. Is that right?
Dad would contact us and let us know that he's wanting to set up visits. And so then I would contact mom to let her know that visits are being set up by dad so that she's prepared.
Okay. And it's by Zoom, you stated, correct?
Yes, virtual visits, yes.
Okay. So the first visit was February 1st.
I believe so, yes.
Do you have your notes in front of you? Is that what you're
Yes.
referencing?
Yes,
Is that the same notes that you submitted to the court?
yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna go through some of the notes here. You're not the only supervisor, for the record, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, in your opinion, how would you describe generally how the parenting time went with the children for Mr. Lee?
Isn't
How the parent, I'm
opinion?
sorry.
I'm sorry, was there an objection, sir?
Yes, sir. Not a. Can we base it on her opinion?
Can you help me understand what you mean?
Wouldn't that be opinionated if there's no facts behind an opinion? I'm sorry, I don't know the protocol. I don't have a free lawyer. I apologize.
You're not entitled to a lawyer. You've said that twice now. I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to help you communicate to me what you're wanting because I don't understand you.
Basically, is a opinion matter in court?
You mean like what she's observing?
Her opinion on how I am as a father through video calls that she did.
She can testify to what she observes. That's not considered an opinion.
Okay. She had asked for her opinion. That's what I was getting at. I apologize.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Nunez, how would you describe Mr. Reed's parenting time with the children?
I would describe it as a little bit of interrogation, and he does compliment the children during the visits. I would say that he does kind of interrogate the children when he does talk to them during virtual. He's concerned about who's there, who's not, where have they been, what have they been doing.
Oh, it's interesting. He's so concerned about that. Funny. You know what I was concerned about? Not seeing your face, dude. Lucky for you, I have the best chat around. And we have within our chat people that are able to figure shit out. So let's take a look at, hold on. Who, Mr. Reeves? Is it Reeves? Let's see. Oops. Sorry, I thought I had this organized better, but I didn't. That's okay. Here we go. This is the gent. Reed. Blake Everett Reed. Texas 10 most wanted fugitive. Let's see. Was taken into custody on January 21st, 2018 at a residence in Cayucas, California. Working off of investigative information, members of the Sheriff's Narcotics Unit and the Sheriff's Gang Task Force in San Luis Obispo County apprehended Reed without incident. That was in January of 2018. Thank you so much, Zeisifer. Thank you for the details. We can put him up here now. I think we could leave him up, hey? Yeah, we should. I'll cut him down and then we'll leave him up in a minute. We'll let this lady finish talking.
Yeah.
When you say interrogation, and he's asking about who's there, are you talking about he's concerned about other people who's present?
Yes, he'll ask who's around. He'll tell the children, look at me when you talk to me, which I don't feel that they're looking at anybody. I feel like they're probably staring at the TV. And he'll tell them, well, when I ask you something, look at me. You can talk to me. You can tell me anything. He's constantly asking, so what's been going on? So what's been going on?
Okay. Does he promise things to the children at times?
I know at one point Hunter had asked if he could come to the house, Hunter's home, and see his toys that he'd gotten. And Dad says, if I could go over there, I would in a heartbeat. and he technically is allowed to see them in person, but I guess because of the distance, he doesn't come. Please.
On February 20th, notes is stated that the Mr. Reed stated, "They tell me I can't talk to you anymore." Do you
Yes.
recall that? And
Yes.
is that
I'm sorry.
no? Is that an appropriate comment?
No, it's when he says that, that's when I tell him, hey, you've got 5 minutes left or so many minutes left. And then he'll tell the kids, well, they're telling me I can't talk to you anymore. And I did address him on it. And I told him, it's not that you can't talk to him anymore, it's that the time's about to be up. And he's like, well, you're telling me I can't talk to my kids. And I'm like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying your time is almost up.
And can you tell when, were there any other persons present during the visits?
You can hear sometimes mom talk, she tries to help the kids be still and get in front of the camera.
And
But no other person.
Does Mr. Reed address the mom at times?
Yes. Yes.
And how does
he tells her, hey, can you get the kids to sit down? Hey, can you turn the TV off, or and she's like, this is part of parenting, which it is, but I tell them it's hard to get 3-year-old and 5-year-old to sit still for so long.
Right. And on February 15, 2023, that Mr. Reed told the kids that the kids will be home soon. Do you recall that as well?
Yes, he frequently tells the kids, this is your home is here, I'm at our home. He says things like that, yes.
Okay. And is that appropriate?
No, it's not.
Did you address that?
That comes into kind of like making promises.
He also inquires of the kids about whether mama, meaning their mom, Miss Reed, was at Papa's. Is that correct?
Yes. That comes into where he starts questioning the kids, like, where have they been? Who have they seen? Who's around them? And things like that.
How would you describe his attitude towards Miss Reed?
Berated, bullied. He can verbally attack. Somewhat narcissist. It kind of gives me, to be honest, PTSD.
It gives you PTSD?
Yes, it triggers. It's a trigger for me, unfortunately.
And how does he interact with you?
He can be, like I said, bullied. I feel like I'm being bullied, and I have to I just have to take a breath and he comes across very aggressive.
Okay, we just have to read off Mr. Reed's charges. Aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, assault on a public servant, assault, evading arrest, detention with a vehicle, bail jumping, and failure to appear, burglary of a vehicle, unlawful restraint, resist arrest, search, or transport, harassment of a public servant, and terroristic threats. So, do you prefer the smiling captured picture, or do you prefer your mugshot? Let us know in the chat below. Allegedly. But I think we are sure it's him. But also, yeah, come to Canada and fuck around and find out what happens up here.
I'm sorry, my light is automatic and it turned off.
We lost the light there.
Yes. Excuse me, 1 second.
Okay.
I'm sitting in the back office and it's an automatic light.
Okay. And how, at some point, I guess he's no longer having visitations at this time. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Why is that?
Just because the way he carries on the phone, he's constantly calling and emailing. And like I said, it's become to the point where it's as if he's bullying me, to do things. He asked to speak to my office manager. He was in Houston at the time, and he told me, well, what is he doing in Houston? If his office is there in Tyler, he shouldn't be in Houston. He should be at his office. And I'm like, well, that's none of your concern why he's in Houston. So I talked to my boss, Mr. Hereford, and he looked over everything. He looked over the notes before he made a final decision just to go ahead and stop visits.
Okay. So he is no longer allowed to have visits with the children through your company. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did he at any time between February and when was that disconnected? I'm sorry. What was the date?
April 14th is when we sent out the notice to everybody.
Okay. So within that about a little over 2-month period, did he ever request an in-person visit for the children?
No.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, I would like to turn the court's attention to the exhibits that were submitted relating to this witness, which are Exhibits A, Part 1 and Part 2, and Exhibits K.
Are you planning on doing a share screen or you're just?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm trying to pull it up.
I gotcha. Thank you.
I believe I have it here.
I don't know what this lawyer is going to bring up. So we got Kimmy Beaver in the house. Kimmy Beaver, ladies and gentlemen, Kimmy Beaver as our Beaver Buffer Dam today. Beaver Buffer Dam.
And just so the record's clear, as far as I can tell, I have only received exhibits from, were they digital?
Yes.
Because I only have an email from Ms. Nero's on April 4th. Those are the only exhibits I have, and she's no longer representing Mr. Reed. So
Okay.
Well,
I don't have any. I'm
They
sorry?
were submitted, Your Honor, through
I'd have to object.
through the e-file system, Your Honor.
Do you know where they were emailed? Well, Mr. Reed, you're wanting a text email too, so obviously you haven't submitted exhibits either.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess if I haven't, then I would have to object to that as well.
Well, we can just figure out where they went. Nobody emailed them to me, Ms. Sheldon, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see.
Did you file them with the court?
Yes, yes.
Those
that's what I
exhibits
did.
I don't know, but I can't tell from the file, right? I'm looking, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 documents were returned, not filed on April 4th. I don't know if that was what they are. 'Cause
No.
we don't, okay.
I believe they were filed, Your Honor.
Well, they don't get put in the file. That's what I'm trying to bring up, because
Yes. Okay. Would you like me to forward these to you?
not to me. I'll give you the email address where they should
Yes.
go. All right, let's go off the record briefly.
Let's go off the record briefly. Okay, Judge, give me a minute. Just make my day difficult. Yeah, phone. I know you're dying. Okay.
State on there, I do not want contact from you because of your threatening emails. Was the exact terms.
That's an issue you all can take up later. You admit you received these exhibits then, sir, is that correct?
I'll have to go back to my email. I received one email. I don't believe what was on it. I don't believe I remember what was on
So
it.
when you see this exhibit, you can let us know whether you received this or not, because you can't object to something if you don't know, I guess. So I'm not sure. If you
Yeah.
responded, it sounds to me like Mr. Reed responded to your email, so he received it. So let's move on.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll be sharing my screen here. Oh, that worked. Okay. Can everybody see the
Yes.
screen?
What's the exhibit number or letter again?
Yes, we can see it. We have appropriate blurring / beavering. I will read it out loud. It is in a horrible font, something that I would never, ever, ever urge you to use for a business purpose ever. Please. Please. Hi, Alex G. Make sure to clock in, please. Also, we're calling dogs Sogs now, just because of somebody in the chat earlier. Okay, so the message says, "Hello, Blake. In the visits, please do not talk about where the children are living and saying that there is bugs and whatnot. Do not talk to mom during your visits. I know you are wanting to see the kids and talk to them during this time, but at their age, it is difficult to get them to sit still. If this continues, we will end visit. Thank you, Lydia." Oh, Alex, you clock in by hitting the like or the dislike button. That's how you do it. And that's a weird message. Just so you know. Like, I don't think that's a normal message, but yeah. Yeah. Alex, you're a senior chef, dude. You got to know these things.
Again, please.
This is Exhibit A, Part 1.
Thank you.
And
I'm
there's
kidding.
Exhibit A,
I
Part
love you guys
2.
all.
I'm just going to scroll a little bit. So, Ms. Nunez, can you see these exhibits?
Yes.
And this is Defendant's Exhibit K.
Whose signature is that on the observer?
That is Destiny Seabolt.
All right. Well, then I'd have to eject because she's not here for me to cross-examine.
Your Honor, that's not how it works. So I would like to go over the foundation issues with the witness.
Sure.
Really?
Ms.
Well, it hasn't
Nunez,
even been offered to be admitted yet, sir. So you're objecting out of turn. So that's why it's really.
Okay.
are you familiar with Exhibits A, Part 1, Part B, Part
And
1?
also,
Part
sir,
2?
I'm going to ask that you kind of control your reactions here. I mean, no one's arguing with you and you're trying to argue with me, and I'm not sure why you're doing that.
I apologize. I'm not trying to argue.
I don't think that there's any indication on this record that I'm treating you unfairly. I'm trying to walk you through a lot of things. So
I appreciate that.
there's no need to sort of instigate things with me. Ms. Sheldon.
Thank you. Ms. Nunez, are you familiar with Exhibits A, Part 1, Part 2, and Exhibit K?
Yes.
Can you identify those exhibits? What are they?
These are notes and receipts from our file.
And were these documents prepared in the ordinary scope of the business of your company?
Yes.
And where are these documents stored after they're prepared?
They're put in the file and in a file cabinet.
Okay. And where were these documents retrieved from?
From our file, each observer takes their own notes, and so we put them away in the file. And that's where when subpoenaed, we get copies from there and send them out.
And you did send out these documents to Ms. Narrows as well, is that correct?
That's correct, because when notes are subpoenaed, both parties get the notes so that everybody's on the same page with everything on our end.
And is it a regular part of your business to keep and maintain records of this type?
Yes.
And are these documents of the type that will be kept under your custody or your control?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I would like to move to admit exhibits A, part 1, part 2, and exhibit K, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Reed, at this point, do you have any objections to these exhibits?
Yes, sir, I do. It does not appear that Miss Linda signed these, so I don't know how she would observe that.
Okay, I think that's the basis for your objection for all three.
I'm not able to cross-examine the person that wrote these down and did the notes. She did not physically take the notes or wasn't physically present.
Okay, thank you. Well, the foundation laid for these exhibits is that these are notes from the file and this person keeps those notes. So in the ordinary course of business, I'm going to admit even over objection, I'll admit exhibit A, parts 1 and 2, and exhibit K.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But Mr.
She's the official record keeper of that business. What he doesn't understand is these businesses, they know what's going to happen. Their entire job is facilitating court-ordered visitations. Do you think that they don't have a corporate record keeper? Do you think that you need each individual person to come and testify? You don't. That's not how it works. And again, he sounds like he has done some research on certain things, but he maybe should have spent his time researching other things, right? I would like to see what the attached notes say, but they haven't scrolled down yet. Hi, Mayor. I hope you're well tonight. Also, guys, if you haven't yet hit that like button, go ahead and do that. Also, if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Although I have a very, very high subscriber watch ratio comparatively. So that's because y'all are great. You know yoga's a pyramid scheme, MB. Don't get me started.
Reed will be able to cross-examine this witness as to whether she signed it, and he can ask all these questions about these specific documents just for his benefit here. But on their face, there's nothing, there's no legal basis for me not to admit them. Whatever weight I assign to them is how we'll proceed through the trial.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Nothing further, Your Honor. I'll stop sharing here.
Okay, and then you'll be able to share that if Mr. Reed would like to see those pulled up though, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because I was just going to see if he wanted them up. Mr. Reed, first of all, let's see. Do you have any questions for this witness?
I do. Can you please state your name? It's Linda, excuse me.
Lydia.
Lydia, I'm sorry. I apologize. Lydia, during a visit with my children, do you recall my son not being on the visit throughout the whole visit?
I remember he's on and off a lot, so he goes and brings toys, so you'd have to be specific to which one.
Okay, I'll be specific. When he was crying because he was kicked.
You're being what, sir? The only person talking about Pacific Ocean is me. I gotta go outside. There's a helicopter like really close.
He's on and off a lot, so he goes and brings toys, so you'd have to be specific to which one.
I'll be specific. When he was crying because he was kicked by his mother because he was kicking, and I asked you to contact law enforcement on that. Do you remember that?
He was being fussy, and mom did not kick him on camera or off camera, but Hartley did mention when you asked her what's wrong with Hunter, and she says, "Oh, mama kicked him because Hunter kicked mama."
Okay. All right. You had stated previously that the first time I contacted you was mid-February, correct?
February 1st.
Okay, February 1st. I apologize. Do you remember a contact that I made last year when I called? I don't know who it was I spoke with. It was a woman, so I was guessing I was presuming it was you, and was told that y'all usually don't do video visits, that y'all do in-person visits.
I don't recall that because we do virtual visits since
Okay.
COVID.
Okay. Do you have any recollection of my mother, Kathy Shanks, calling and emailing you trying to set up where she can talk to her grandkids?
Yes.
Okay. You said I gave you PTSD.
Mhm.
And I was bullying because I wanted to be able to talk to my children. And is it normal for parents to have a distraction when all they have to do is give 40 minutes out of a 7-day period to turn a TV off and let the children talk to their father? That's
I
considered
can't
bullying.
control anything that's going on because when we do visits here, there's TVs on here and in-person visits as well.
Is the mother or the father, the opposite parent, present during that visit there?
Of course.
Okay, so both parents are there?
And in-person visits, yes.
Okay. All right. And just me asking for her to try to eliminate some of the distractions so I could talk to my children, that was considered bullying or
I didn't say that was bullying.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So I had a visit on a date that y'all tried to cancel. Do you recall that?
I believe mom was wanting to reschedule it.
Okay. We were following by court orders of days.
Correct.
And did I ask to reschedule mine due to my work? And you told me.
Yes, you did. You asked after mom had requested to reschedule a visit, you refused and wanted to follow court orders. So when you requested probably a week or 2 weeks later, mom requested the same as you did to follow court orders.
Okay, so she denied me of my visit per court order on a Wednesday, correct?
No, you were wanting to reschedule for a different day.
I thought you had stated that that I wanted to follow court orders and she couldn't. She wouldn't follow the court orders. And she wanted to, when I wanted to stay with the court orders, is what you had said. I apologize if I misunderstood you.
I'm trying to understand right now what you're asking.
Let me rephrase it. We had court orders for a set time, Monday and Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
You told me mother couldn't do
reschedule the Wednesday one, I believe.
Correct. And that's what I was asking. And I wanted to keep it the same. And I was denied my visit per court order, correct?
I do have the paper here, the email, where I did ask Miss Kelly if she was willing to change the time. And she said she'd like to leave it at 7 unless there's a court modification.
Okay. Was there a modification for canceling my visit on that Wednesday?
No, she herself voluntarily canceled the visit.
Okay. Are you the only one that does visits?
No.
Okay. How many times would you say another person in your office did visits?
We have several observers here doing visits.
How
Are
many
you
times?
specifically talking about yours?
Correct. Yeah, not anybody else's visit, just mine.
I think there's been maybe 3 to 4 other people that have done your visit.
Okay. So you might have done it half the time.
Majority of the time. Others
Oh.
refuse to do it.
Others refused to do it.
Mhm.
At what point did Kelly tell you that I had been in trouble before and that I had been wanted by the police?
I think it was towards the beginning that you weren't allowed. She didn't tell me you were in trouble. She just told me that you weren't allowed to leave the state.
I wasn't allowed to leave the state.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why you couldn't do in person.
Then, so she told you I was not allowed to leave the state.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, I guess did you ever contact law enforcement like I had asked, or Child Protective Services, due to the safety concern with the mother kicking the child in?
I let Mr. Hereford, the owner, know about it.
Okay. Does he work for Child Protective Services?
No, sir, he does not.
Okay. All right. No further questions at this time.
Ms. Sheldon, do you have any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Daniels, why did other supervisors refuse to supervise Mr. Reed's parenting time?
Because of his conduct and not wanting to, when redirected, not wanting to follow through, and just basically that they couldn't handle it, and that was why the majority of the time I did the visits.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Final questions, Mr. Reed?
No.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
That's a great opportunity, guys. Right now, you should be going to check out looking at legal stuff as well as That Is the Way I See It, Time Served, and all the rest. You know who I mean to say. Credence and Mikey. Credence and Mikey. I'm sorry. Babies, I love you. Here's what we're gonna do. There is more of this. We are going to watch it tomorrow night. I know this is an early evening end for me, but I have a few plans that I'm working on, and I appreciate you guys' understanding. I know. But looking at legal stuff, and That Is the Way I See It, both probably dropped amazing videos today. I guarantee they did. I guarantee they did. So go check them out right now. Get your court fix. Come back tomorrow night for the rest of this case. And we will, I'm sorry. Um, I appreciate you all. I have to do a little bit of research, a number of things, and I love you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already, and check out Mayor's Discord thing that's going on. Check out all the channels that I mentioned. Let me know if you've got other stuff you want me to watch. I love these things. You know how it goes. That's the way I see it. After upgrades will be good. I'm jealous. I'm still waiting for YouTube Daddy to, send money to Canada. It takes a long time, apparently. Anyways, link it in the Discord, Mayor, and everybody have a wonderful night. I will talk to you tomorrow. I love you very much for being you. I'm proud of you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay, bye.